Hello, my friends. Welcome to this episode of Healing Your Codependency. I'm Marshall Berkshire, and I'm excited to have you here because I'm here to help you transform that codependency into a sense of belonging, self-worth, connection, and aliveness in your life, purpose in your world. So that's the magic here. That's what we do. Healing codependency is really about becoming our own self-advocate so we can engage life on our terms and have more of what we desire. Today, I want to talk about this concept of openness. So what is openness, first of all? Well, openness is the emotional or somatic felt sense state of being available. It's typically expressed as a sense of relaxation, curiosity, playfulness, and a physical sense of availability. Like I can receive something. And that's why openness matters. So codependency, it's a contracted state. It's a closed state. It is transactional in the aspect that I need to do this to get that so I can feel safe, I can feel like I can belong, I feel like I have worth. Because it's always going to come down to those three necessities of safety, belonging, self-worth. And it's trying to negotiate that with hostile transactional systems, so it has to be in that way transactional. It's got to be like, I give this, you give that kind of thing. Now that obviously sets us up for a lot of pain in relationships because mutual, real connection isn't transactional. It's reciprocal, and it's contributing and receiving freely and openly with those that it's connected to. This is where we get into openness. Openness is required for us to be able to receive something, to acknowledge it, to understand it, to feel it, to let it impact us, right? And in turn, openness allows us to then know what we can contribute to the other person. So in our healing work in codependency, we're moving from a closed, controlled, rigid system to an open, flexible, curious system. And at a somatic state, this is really about how we work with our attachment system. So I was talking in the transformation group earlier this week about two basic ways we relate and how our attachment systems relate to that. So first way we relate in our relationships is we stick somebody into our life. It's kind of like we're adding a piece to our puzzle, and then we go on with our lives, and then they're trying to fit into it, or we're trying to fit into theirs, and there's a lot of friction in that experience. I call that parallel relating. So they just kind of collide in each other, but you have these individual lives that you're trying to have together, and when they collide, that's when you get conflict, that's when you get confusion, that's where things don't work very well. Then we have what's called integrated relating. Integrated relating is where we orbit each other. We're both individuals. See, my fingers are still individual. They're not enmeshed. We can't tell which one is it. Enmeshment is where I can't tell whose finger's whose, right? No, they're individualized. We know who we are as a person. We know what we value. We know what we want to experience and what we don't. We have a deeper clarity about ourselves, and we're building a deeper clarity about them. So we're orbiting each other while we build and expand individual lives and a shared mutual vision for the relationship we share with the other person, something that we're co-creating together. Very different world there. We're not sticking someone into our world and then hoping they'll adapt, or vice versa. Instead, we're coming together and going, okay, I'm this individual life, you have that individual life. Now, what do we want to create as our life? Okay, that's an open system. Parallel is closed. Parallel is where our attachment system shows up as an anxious attachment, an avoidant attachment system, a disorganized attachment, because it's in a lot of pain and it's trying to protect itself. Anytime we have an avoidant, anxious, or disorganized response or reaction to someone else we're connected to, our body is attempting to provide safety, trying to provide some sense of belonging and some sense of worth. It is always going to be driven by those needs because those are so fundamental to our own survival and our own well-being. But it makes it close because we have to control it. We try to control, we try to be, it's the transactional, I'm going to do this, and you do that in return kind of model. And that's trauma-driven. I mean, anytime there is avoidant, anxious, or disorganized responses, it's trauma talking. It's harm that we've endured that has not been known, has not been loved, has not been cared for us. And then that tends to create pain and hurt in everyone involved. So in the open system, where we're working towards integration and creating a mutually shared experience together while being our individual selves, the attachment system is curious. The attachment system is willing to receive and contribute. And what that really looks like is, hey, I got an avoidant response come up, right? Okay, so avoidant response comes up to person A, and like, hey, person A, I'm really scared to share this with you. I'm scared to feel so close to you right now because I'm not used to it and it feels really vulnerable to me. And then that person's response, an available open response, would be, thank you for sharing with me. That's pretty intense. It sounds like that's kind of intense for me because I'm, sometimes when I get close to people, they pull away, and I've been having some of that anxiety too. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I feel that too. And we are having a mutual experience of knowing each other. And this builds that openness, that secure connection in relationship. Now, this is not always easy to do, right? We got to have the capacity. We got to have the awareness for it. We got to have the tools, the words for it. So that's where healing our codependency, that's what we're gaining as we become more available, more open to life and the kindness that it can bring us. As one of my friends and mentors says, Sonia Miller says, life affords kindness. When we become available to that, then we're able to gain words and language and structure to communicate the pain we carry, the fears we carry, the hopes that we carry. And then that allows us to be known both to ourselves and to others. This is where openness is crucial to our ability to heal and transform our codependency into that advocacy, into that belonging, into that deep sense of, hey, I matter too. Starts with that openness. So where do we really start with openness? Well, in my work, like in the foundation course, which is open and available for enrollment, for the on-demand edition, we start with nurturing and caring for the nervous system, because it's the nervous system that drives the attachment system, right? So if the nervous system is in tension, it's closed. It needs to be cared for. It needs to be soothed so that its level of safety increases, so it feels safe enough to relax a little more, become a little more open, a little more playful, a little more rested. Thus, we become more available to receive and contribute. So we start there with regulation and soothing of the nervous system. Then we move to building our awareness with pause, acknowledge, observe, and then building deeper tools through titration, through pendulation, ALI, and others, help us become more emotionally flexible, available, and cared for. So you can start that today, actually. So in the description below, you can click on the link and go to drp.freetheself.com. It's free. You can get the tool set and start today. If you're listening via podcast, just go to my website at healyourcodependency.com. Go up to resources, library. The DRP will be right there. This is where we start. We have to start with the nervous system and not with our mind. Our mind, in my experience, it's kind of like the result. Everything I think, everything I perceive is the result of what's alive here in the body, in the somatic system. So if I start in the somatics, I start down here in the energy, in the emotion, in the sensations, and what the body's feeling and saying and doing, communicating. The mind state shifts all by itself that way. So that's where we start with building openness, so that we can create availability to be known, to know others, and then to receive, contribute, and build connection in our world. So that's what we do there. If you want structured help, you want guidance and instruction on this, come join the foundation course. The link is in the description, and below or above, depending on where you're watching this, as well at healyourcodependency.com. Jump in and let's help you thrive in your world there. So that's today's training. Thank you, my friends, for showing up, doing the work. This is big stuff. We're changing our paradigm, how we relate to ourselves, to others, and to life. So go gently with yourselves. Remember to praise and appreciate yourselves. And I will see you guys in our next episode. Okay? Bye-bye. So thank you for watching this episode. And you want more episodes like this, check out the recommended video above. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and If you're ready to take the leap and heal your codependency, check out my workshop linked below on how to heal codependency permanently. Then you can understand how I help you restore safety, connection, and worth in your life, and how that liberates you from your codependency and empowers you in creating the relationships, the satisfaction, fulfillment you want in your life. So check that out below. Thank you again for showing up, guys. Bye-bye.